Now, page 4, the Universal Democrat plank for 2020. That is where the modern Democrat Party is headed for the upcoming election season. It's all about universal. Medicare for all means universal health care. Free tuition means universal college. Paid family leave means universal time off from work. Minimum monetary stipends means universal income. Of course, universal is simply a cover word for government. And government is fueled by we the people, aka tax dollars. In other words, by proffering these new anti-free market programs, the modern Democrat Party is going full tilt Marxist socialist. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. And the Democrat candidates for president stepping all over themselves right now, trying to be at the vanguard of this effort to massively redistribute wealth. Oh, sure, they give these anti-constitutional programs fancy names in order to conceal the truth from uneducated Americans, but make no mistake, anything with the term universal in its description from these Democrat shucksters is an attack on liberty. Next will be universal citizenship. Don't laugh. It is coming as so-called solution to our illegal immigration problem. An undeclared candidate for President Joe Biden is already going there.
The America I see values basic human decency.
Stop tape. It used to be basic American decency that you didn't go overseas like this gentleman is, Joe Biden. He's overseas. He's in Europe giving this speech. You didn't go overseas as an American and criticize fellow Americans. You stood up for America and Americans. You didn't do this. But of course, Barack Obama helped break that mold, and Barack Obama laid the foundation for what now Joe Biden is doing and what Hillary Clinton did and what the rest of them are doing. Trash America, trash the current president of the United States, whether you are home or whether you are abroad. Roll tape.
Not snatching children from their parents.
Stop tape. What kind of freak, honestly, what kind of anti-American freak goes to Europe and mischaracterizes what is happening along our southern border? Children are not being snatched from parents. We know for a fact. Unfortunately, it's terrible. I mean, think about this. These kids in Honduras or in Guatemala or maybe El Salvador, wherever, they're being used by the grown-ups. They're being taken from these countries through Mexico, taken to the border, and then they're used because they know the giant loopholes in our law give adults preferential treatment if they have a child with them. They say it's their child, but of course, in reality, it's not. And we know a large percentage of these kids are not the family members of these illegals that are trying to exploit our system. It's unbelievable what's happening. And then you have this guy go over to Europe and mischaracterize the entire thing, that we're ripping children away from their parents. Hardly. They're being treated better here in this country, no matter what their circumstance. Even if they are the children of those parents, they're being treated better here in this country, in our conditions, than they ever were on that trek through Mexico, and probably ever how they were treated in their home country. They're being treated better and more humanely in the United States. And thank God they are. Thank God that those children survived the trek and the child abuse that they were subjected to. It is child abuse. And those parents, those adults, need to be held accountable for what they did to those children. They need to be held accountable by our laws and then deported. Roll tape.
Are back on refugees at our border. America's no.
Here's another point, Joe, if I can call you that. They're not refugees. They're not meeting the definition of refugee. How do we know this? Because the ones who do end up appearing before a judge, their cases are dismissed. And the judge is saying, no, you don't qualify as a refugee. You're a garden variety illegal. What happens to them afterwards? Who knows? They ought to be on a train south, but of course, our country, unfortunately, doesn't work that way. Roll tape.
That's not right.
Stop tape. The clapping seals you hear there, this is in Europe. It's a pro-Obama, anti-Trump crowd. So, of course, they're going to clap virtually anything that Joe Biden says. Roll tape.
The American people understand, please, because it makes us embarrassing.
Stop the tape. I don't know about the grammar there, Joe. I guess you're trying to say that you are embarrassed by what we are doing. You're embarrassed by a president of the United States who is trying to secure our southern border once and for all.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.